Hey, welcome back everyone to Manny School of Art, and thank you for joining me once again as we continue with our series on drawing three-dimensional forms, the three basic forms. Now, last week I mentioned that we were going to be working on transforming these shapes and combining them to create more complex forms, but I misspoke. Forgot that there is one more exercise that we really should do before we actually do that, and that's this one right here. Let's break this exercise down into three parts, basically. The first part is going to be the setup. When you start the setup, I want you to go ahead and put a circle somewhere on your paper, anywhere on your paper, and I want you to label that the light source. You can even put the little rays around it. Then you're going to start randomly drawing directional lines, and I want you to put little arrows so that you know which direction you want those to be. Give yourself a lot of variety. Make some of them long, some of them short, going up, going down, diagonal, horizontal. If you want to make a curve, do it in multiple sections. So keep these lines straight, but we can suggest a turn like so. And then you'll see how that comes into play when we're moving on to step 2. Once you have your layout more or less the way you want it, and then you're going to use these directional lines in order to draw in your three-dimensional forms. And I want you to use all three that we've been practicing. So that's the cylinder, the sphere, and the box, okay? If the line is parallel to the picture plane, then draw them in 1-point perspective. If they're diagonal to the picture plane, then go to 2-point perspective. So let me show you how this starts. Now just because you're drawing something in 1-point perspective, you don't have to feel like you're limited. So let's say that I want to draw a box right here in 1-point perspective. Okay. Then I'm going to decide, do I want to go up, do I want to go down, or do I just want to see the top in the front or the bottom in the front? You got lots of choices, okay? So for this one, since it's going in this direction, I think that I want to take it this way. And again, you're going to have to decide how deep the box is going to be, right? Because you don't want all the boxes to look the same. You also want to decide whether the box is a closed form or if it's hollow. So I'm going to make this one hollow. Let's do a cylinder so you can see the other ones. So if I'm doing a cylinder and it's going in this direction, remember that the first thing you want to do is establish that perpendicular line. And again, just like the box, you're going to have to decide how much or how big these things are going to be, right? So I'm going to go ahead and draw my oval. And then I'm going to draw a smaller oval here, right? Because it's going into the distance, so it's going to taper a little bit and then connect the two. Before I do any shading, I'll decide whether I want to make that transparent or whether I want to make it a solid, okay? When you get to the spheres, okay? Spheres is going to be a circle no matter what angle you look at it from. So when you're doing the spheres, use these lines to determine the poles, okay? So let's do one right here. So let's say that I want to draw a sphere right here, and my pole's going this way, okay? And then I want you to go ahead and add the cross contours, okay? Since it's coming this way towards us, then we know that these lines are going to curve in this direction. Now, remember that you have three choices when you do the cross contours. You can do them parallel, you can have them go into the poles, or you can do a combination of both. So wherever you decide that you want to put a circle, I would experiment. So like this one, I'm just going to leave it as a parallel one. I'm going to let it overlap this box, and that's perfectly fine. And I'm going to make it shallow this time, very shallow. So when you're doing yours, you have to make decisions, okay? The whole point of this is to give you an opportunity to practice drawing these forms in space, but I don't want to limit you, okay? I want you to be able to make certain decisions about what type of boxes, spheres, and cylinders you want to do. So this is overlapping this, and it's overlapping that one a little bit as well, okay? So I'm going to go through, finish this up, and then I'll come back to show you step 3. All right, now that all the forms are drawn up and ready to go, we can begin doing the shading. Now we are going to use this single light source for all of these right here, okay? As you're doing these, you're going to have to decide whether these are going to be closed forms or whether they're going to be hollow, okay? So I'm going to show you a little bit on how to do this, and then I'm going to turn you loose so that you can finish it out. Remember that the whole point of this exercise is to free you up to draw your forms from multiple points of view, okay? So we're not worrying about composition, or we're not trying to make it like an actual drawing, but we do want to focus in on drawing these correctly. Okay, so since the light source it's over here on this guy, then this plane that's facing the light will be the brightest. The top plane probably will get a little bit of a shadow, and then the inside plane right here, the side plane, will be the darkest. Now if I wanted to make it hollow, then I would probably lighten this one up just a little bit to indicate that there's a little bit of light getting in there. Let's say that you're doing a cylinder. Let's do this one right here. And I think I want to make this one a solid one. So the first thing that I would do is erase this area right here that's inside of the cylinder, so it's no longer hollow. Okay, now remember that a cylinder would be shaded with a little bit of a curve. So in this case, the shadow is probably going to start right about here, and as it goes into the distance, it's going to get a little darker. Not a lot, right? Because this is still, for the most part, is facing the light source. So then this one will be here, and my brightest area is probably going to be somewhere in this area. And then the darkest part of this cylinder is going to be on this side. If we look at this cylinder right here, then the light is actually striking this side first. So this will be slightly darker, and as it goes further this way, it's actually going to be even darker. And as it comes down in this direction, it's going to get darker as well. Now we're not going to be putting cast shadows on any of these on the surrounding area, but if an object is overlapping another object, you may need to add a cast shadow to indicate that. Right here, I may put a cast shadow on this guy when we get to it, to indicate that they're overlapping. Remember that the light source is going to follow the cross contours. So if the light source is here, then there'll be a soft shadow on this side as it's starting to go underneath. The bright area will probably be right about here, and that's got to have a little bit of a curve to it as well. And then it's going to get darker on this side and on the back side. Now, whenever you have an object that is overlapping another object, make sure that you kind of clean it up before you do the shading and decide which object is in front and which one is behind. Okay, so like in this case here, I want this cylinder to be in front of the box and in front of the sphere. So I'll erase part of this right here. And now the cylinder is in front of both of those things right there. Okay. Then you just go ahead and proceed with the shading. Okay, here's an easy trick that you can do whenever you need to clean up a straight line. Take a scrap sheet of paper, line it up to the area that you want to use it as a mask, and then use your eraser to clean up that area. So this exercise is a great exercise to get you used to drawing three-dimensional forms moving through space. It gives you a chance to see what they look like when they're coming towards you, away from you, diagonally, overlapping each other. And it also gives you an opportunity to see how the light source will affect each one of the forms individually. I have found this one to be one of the more useful exercises that I've done with my students. And full disclosure, this is not an exercise that I created. Not really sure where I got this from. I learned this a long time ago. I don't remember if it was in one of my art classes or whether it was a video. But it is very effective. And so I wanted to bring this to you guys so that you could see that you can practice drawing three-dimensional forms in a way that is a little bit more, it's a little bit low-keyed, more relaxed, but it's very effective. So as I mentioned earlier, this is not an exercise that I designed, so I don't have a title for this. So if you can come up with a good title for what type of exercise this is, please let me know in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. All right, guys, so there you have it. Now, when you're doing this exercise, I will not limit it to one. I would probably do a few of these, and then just get to playing with the different directions, right? Because when you put in your directional lines, that's kind of gonna determine what the overall design is gonna look like. So every time that you do this, they're gonna look totally different from the one before. And they're really good exercise to get you used to turning these forms in space. And that's the whole point of this, right?
All right. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.